Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. Here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. So today I want to talk about cottage witchery. I talk about a lot of different things on this channel, but I kind of wanted to share a little bit about the type of magic that I practice, my spiritual path. So it is cottage witchery. So what is cottage witchery? Well, there's overall definitions, but the way I see it is basically a witch who is sort of dedicated to the magic and spirituality, if you will, around hearth and home. I'm home based. I don't know if I've always was an introvert, but I think just the way my life has been set up for years, moving around so much, not knowing a lot of people, meeting people, but at the same time not having like solid connections, enough to keep like being a friend. So I tended to be a lot in the house. Also, when I did work, I worked in the home. I never rarely ever worked. I'm trying to think. I can't even remember. It was like oh something, 2000 oh something, the last time I physically had to go into an office. It's been a very long time. So anyway, that contributed probably into my attachment with all things home, interior design, things like that, just like the mundane side of things. However, as my spirituality grew, as I began to study and learn more, I realized I'm not so much as an eclectic, which is what I kind of held on to. The only other time I kind of gave myself a title was years ago when I was many years ago when I started out with Wicca, right? So there was that. So, and I would have referred to myself as a Wiccan. So, and I did for some time. But, as time, I realized, okay, maybe I'm an eclectic witch, and I kind of just held that title, at least to myself. No one was asking. But I just sort of kept that title to myself. I decided, okay, well, maybe you to sort of explore some of the other ways that you practice and why you do it and why you're drawn to certain things, like certain books on witchcraft and honestly certain YouTube channels eventually, but more books and blogs. Blogs were a bigger thing. So when you talked about things to do for the home, or when I saw blogs and imagery that reference witchcraft around the house and like house spirits and fairies and the fae in general and all of that. It was very interesting to me. So I dug deeper. So as time went on, I began to not only just study and learn, which is awesome to study and learn, but I'm going to tell you need to practice. I put it into practice as well. And eventually I realized I was building my own tradition. That's the wonderful thing about practicing witchcraft, and never let anyone try to tell you differently. There are some maybe agreed upon things that a lot of us witches sort of agree upon, but at the same time, there's a whole other group who says, nope, I don't believe in any of that, but I'm still a witch. And I don't practice that way. So basically, you can make things your own, is where I'm going with it. Um, be respectful, obviously, that's the first thing. Be respectful, not just of other people, yes, of other people and their practices and spirituality in general. Have respect for yourself, the spirits that you work with. If you believe them to be real, then be respectful. You know what I mean? So there's that. So don't speak negatively. Sometimes I know there's memes and jokes about, oh, newbie witches, they light all the candles, get all the different colors, set the scene, is very aesthetically pleasing. Meanwhile, the seasoned witch comes in, wipes Cheetos on her, shirt and just says, okay, bitches, let's get to work or something like that. And hey, maybe that works, but it's about energy. So before we clown newbie witches or the extra witches, sometimes it's worthy to put that much energy into a spell or working as a ritual, because the more you feel like you put in my opinion, you can get very positive results. And as far as the speed of it, I don't know, sometimes it varies, but I feel like the more energy you put into it, you kind of focus everything around this spell and their energy with it. And it starts before you do the spell. And that's when you're picking out the candles of choice, the herbs you're going to use. Are you using special paper to write petitions on? Have you made a homemade oil to anoint the candle? Are you aware of the night that you're performing or the day that you're performing it and what that means as it relates. Just putting correspondences, that found feather that found in your path. But it coincides to what you asked to the universe. So you've done the spell now to sort of bring it into reality, to manifest it into your reality, and maybe having that feather on your altar, reaching out, not yes to your ancestors for protection, and at the same time you can reach out to other deities and your ancestors. You can reach out to more than one as long as they get along, but you'll find that out. It's all those extra steps in studying and learning before you even light a candle or sage or anything like that. You do all these extra steps is my point. So just something to think about. But anyway, back to my point about cottage witchery. So I sort of begun to, after a while, really focus on hearth and home. And yeah, I've developed a bit of a practice. I even, believe it or not, if you're new to this channel, I actually offer a free sort of workshop on cottage witchery. The link is in the description, so check that out. I am in the process of transferring that over to my new platform at leaptaken.com because, why wouldn't I kind of want to condense? And my focus honestly will be a lot to do with cottage witchery. That's where I'm going with this. I like to explore, I've talked about this before, different paths, and I love to explain things and, introduce them and then maybe come back and let you know about the update of how, where I'm going with my own personal study. And I will continue to do that. But I also know that I am a cottage witch, and within my home, when I'm not filming, I'm the witch that I am. I'm the cottage witch. However, I think I want to start sharing a little bit more about, that part of my spirituality and honestly, it's getting more personal. When you do videos, and I realize I have quite a few videos that I've posted over years now. It's been a couple years. And I feel like I share, but coming into this particular part of my spirituality, the cottage witchery side is definitely opening up even more so. And honestly, I've been feeling a little stagnant lately with videos, and it's not even coming up with ideas because I plan a month in advance. I'm a serious planner. So I plan a month in advance. I even do certain scriptings. This one I didn't need to because it's kind of been in my head all this time. Forgive me if I ramble. That's just me. But what I will say is that I feel like I'd like to just continue to, share my path, and that is as a cottage witch. So you'll see probably a lot more videos really focusing on hearth and home, because that's what excites me. And when I started this channel, I think I was trying to show more of that and sort of expand out. And I like all the videos that I've done since, and they're not necessarily not in line with my practice, but I don't feel like I show enough along with my practice. Yes, aesthetically speaking, it's cute because I like to have cute things. However, sometimes it's not that pretty. It's sitting down, it's getting your hands dirty. It's it's practical. And I think one of the things that is challenging for me is showing you that, because there's so much practicality within cottage witchery. You make things because you need them. You make things because you want to share them with others. So making oils, making a salve, certain purchases that you make, plants, herbs, seeds, they have to do with the practicalities of you and maybe your family. And then there's the magical component, because then you bless those things and you add those. So I'm going to do my best to try to show you that. And my hopes is that when you see that, you realize how accessible witchcraft really is. And more importantly, as a cottage witch, I'm aware of how much my magic and my path is influenced by those who came before me, those who practiced before me, who would have probably been under the umbrella of practicing hoodoo, my people before me. if not even probably some form of ATR. I know it. I just know it. Um, and I've had this confirmed by two different a psychic, medium, and a reader. So I know I'm not, there's a part of me that feels it, and I have another family member who's kind of on that say like actually there's two of us where we sense that there's a deeper connection that has just been lost due to the enslavement of our ancestors and you know just through the indoctrination of Christianity because of this, well, actually not in this country because actually you have the missionaries that went over into Africa and they spread the good gospel there as well, and demonized our traditional faith. See, you see how I said that, by the way? Yeah, tangent alert. You see how I said that? Demonized our traditional faiths, our systems, our spiritual systems, our beliefs. So I can say that, and that's like not good, right? Some people hear that and they say, why are you coming after Christianity? These are facts. I'm not saying my opinion. I'm not being insulting. That's what has happened and continues to happen. That's not, a made up thing or something I'm putting out. Whatever weird things people are saying, like that's real. So like we can kind of agree on that, right? Like that's a history thing. I'm not making that up. So, I'm not beating up on anybody's faith or what they hold dear to in their heart if you're watching this, because I realize there's people who practice who are still very much Christian and they bring these other beliefs. I see a lot of people who say they're hoodoo workers and they speak a lot about the Bible and they talk about the Most High and they're talking about the Christian God in most cases. And, they're of the mindset that the Europeans, stretched, bent, polluted the original way that Christians practice, and it's their birthright, Christianity. And I say, if you study, which I did, by the way, I've been to college and I've studied world religions, and if you study, and also I was a homeschooler, and I took it upon myself to develop a plan for my then high schooler and then middle schooler, each one center for both of their learning styles on teaching pre-colonial, African history, because that's important. And then if you understand that, and then, hey, fun fact, there's same time over in other countries, like in China and other parts of the world, and to understand, what those spiritual systems were and their beliefs and the culture that influence and all that. So we learned about ancient cultures and their religions and spiritual systems, and taking a lot from what I remembered from college and the books. By the way, I kept them, so I had that information to rely on, and the new resources I purchased as well. So Christianity is not older. Okay, when you talk about just culture in general and just the peoples, China is a fascinating study. China, like it's ancient, old, very old. Let alone obviously African history as well, and then within and Africa is a continent, so somewhere in Africa, different countries and things like that. First off, you just split it up and focus just on the southern versus northern history, and then you got to dig. And here's the funny thing about that. I know I told you I was on a tangent. When I was homeschooling the kids, to get more understanding of why people were in certain areas in the southern region or in the interior of Africa, had a lot to do with way before the Europeans, the Dutch came over and, started their ridiculousness. Before then, there was the people from up north, the Arab countries who were coming in. And as soon as, these people would set up, live their life, have their tribe, village, what have you, said, here they come. And they were bent on genocide, wiping them off the face of the earth. They wanted these people gone. So they would fight, and they were being pushed further and further into the interior. of the continent of Africa, which wasn't the most habitable place at the time. And these people may do, we talk about like the bush people and things like that. There's a reason. These people weren't just there for any reason. They were pushed. A lot of these different peoples were pushed there, and then they kept just making a way, which is fascinating and also inspiring for me because, in some way capacity, a lot of us have these people in our ancestry, in some format, even if it's just a drop of DNA. But no, I like to believe that just that inspiring spirit, though, lets me know that, and just history of just people of African descent just having to constantly re-up, level up after being pushed down, then re-up, level up again, and just in one lifetime, just constantly improving and coming out and just and surviving and not being extinguished, as those evil who wish evil on us have had won it. Here we are. Here I am. So that is a part of my cottage witchery, by the way. I'm bringing it back. That is a part of how I practice. That is a part of everything that I bring into my practice. I think, and I wanted to sort of express that because I understand that for a lot of people who are POC, you might think, or hear cottage witchery, and you definitely think European. I live in an actual cottage, fun fact. They built where I live, it's a wonderful little community, and they're built like little cottage homes, so I knew I was in the right place. In other older videos, I talk about manifesting the very home that I live in, and I did it. So with all the things that I wanted in my home. So I'm very grateful to live here and experience my manifestations, the things that I scripted and wrote about. But anyway, part of my cottage witchery, like I said, brings in probably a lot of hoodoo, a little bit of things from traditional African religions, to be honest. Definitely, ancestral worship and things like that. Well, worship, veneration, all of that sort of stuff, along with, yes, European influences as well. But where did everybody get everything? We all know humanity started where? On the continent of Africa. Scientifically, that's been proven. It is what it is. So, it's a mixed pot of things that influence how I practice, and it's unique to me. And I hope that as you continue to watch my videos and you watch my channel, that the things that I show, I'm never saying this is how you do it, this is the only way, and there's no room for any improvement or anything else. Like, this is the way to do it. I'm offended when I see other people kind of present something like, this is the way it's always been done, this is how you do it. I'm seeing a lot of that. Not so much in the new age movement. Y'all know what I'm talking about. These videos is little waif like little young women playing. I'm going to say something horrible. Anyway, the point is, we see it. I'm not seeing it so much there. They talk a lot about crystals and tarot and oracle cards, and they got the glittery stuff on. But more so, I realized, not even so much on YouTube. I don't know what's going on YouTube, by the way, with videos. I'm trying to find actual content that I relate to. But anyway, on Instagram and TikTok for sure. TikTok especially, I'm seeing this kind of attitude of, well, hoodoo is this, it's that, and that's it. Like, very definitive about it. And also this idea that hoodoo is somehow, you have to be initiated. We know that's not to be true, but people are kind of interlacing it all together. So I don't know. That's just out there to me. But I look at it like this: they're playing fast and loose with their path and how they practice it and how they're presenting it. So why is it so strange that I mix European influences with African influences with African American and Native American influences? Why is that so odd? Because I'm not claiming anything other than that I'm a practicing cottage witch. I'll just say that and wrap that up because I'm about to go on a whole other tangent. This video is going to be super long. But yeah, so for me, basically, hearth and home, I think in the center of the home and everything sort of radiates out. I have really explored working with the exterior of my home and outside and just tying it all together and just keeping that energy flow going. I light incense often throughout my home for the purposes of just kind of keeping a certain energetic balance. Um, I speak out loud in my home about certain things. One, to the, how I call them house spirits as well, to aid me in doing whatever it is that I'm trying to accomplish or whatever I'm speaking out loud. Sometimes it's just gratitude. Um, I sit in awe, even to this day, that the very home I wanted to practice this type of magic in is the one I'm sitting in. When I sit on my front porch, by the way, I've had a front porch before. We moved around a lot. So I've had traditional houses, like big houses, 5 bedrooms, all that stuff. The porch and the deck out back, blah, blah, blah. But the porches were never, it was always like too narrow. A lot of the like new construction, they have like narrow porches. It's enough just for decoration, but my porch I have now is really big and I love that. It's enough to fit, to have a conversation. You can have a conversation. And then my back is also really cool as well. And it's just enough for me to handle, by the way, because at this point in my life, well, there's no grass here really, but I don't want to deal with grass anymore. But I have my little container garden going and I have my lounge area and my eating area. So it's like really, really, really cool, actually. And and I decorated it with certain colors to make it more colorful because it's cheery, and again, just feeding that energy and the spirits that eventually, to me, I create. These house spirits that I refer to, I don't believe they were always there. I believe you invite them in. They are manifested. I've created them. They're sort of like my babies. That's why it's important to nurture, clean, and maintain my space for that very reason. And in turn, they aid me in the magic that I create within these walls. And with that, right just outside these walls, outside and on my front porch. But yeah, that's kind of like the essence of the way that I practice my cottage witchery. But I'm going to end it here. I just kind of wanted to have a little chit chat about that to explain a little bit more about me, how I practice, why I practice the way I do, and also kind of like a little precursor to understanding the next, like the videos you'll be seeing as time goes on this channel that focus probably a little bit more on cottage witchery, because it's important to me and to this day it still excites me. And I'd like to go on a path, continue on a path that excites me, that gets me going. And that's this. So, all right, I'm out. So thanks so much for watching. Please consider hitting the join button because I am really trying to grow Leap Taken. And with the Leap Taken membership, specifically the second tier, that involves a book club. And I'd really like to grow that. And here's the reason why, because listen, if you made it to this part of the video, awesome. There's a Safe Place for Witches is my Discord channel. And initially I had planned to do that there and it just would have been free. The reason it's a paid membership is because there is a lot of work that goes into hosting, running, and leading book clubs monthly. There's work for me to do that. The purchasing of the material, then there's the actual process of time. Time is so important. I realize that as I get older, time is so important to not just read it and say, hey, what do you guys think? It's reading and thinking of thought-provoking questions, leading it, bringing extras and things like that into the conversation and to the discussion. And like I said, extras, maybe we have some other resources and things like that that I offer to support what we're talking about that month with that particular book. But it takes a lot to grow a community, so hopefully you'll consider joining, and that's something that you're interested in, someone who actually wants to put the energy in and sort of drive a discussion and a place where you can go and talk about these fascinating topics from fiction to nonfiction under the umbrella of paganism, witchcraft. Okay, all right. So thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, share. If you're interested in my services, go to leaptaken.com. All right, bye.